It's been a long time building, giving corporations rights under our Constitution. I learned about this rights-based approach by attending a democracy school run by the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund up in Pennsylvania. And I came away convinced that this is the way I wanted to attack privatization and commodification in my work with the Alliance for Democracy. So working with some local organizers up in New Hampshire, we picked the town of Barnstead. Now please picture with me a Rastafarian biodynamic farmer who homeschooled her children. Now picture with me the chair of the the Barnstead Select Board who fought in the Vietnam War and voted for George Bush. This unlikely duo made history when Barnstead enacted the Barnstead Water Rights and Local Self-Government Ordinance in March of 2006. Let me read you the preamble of this ordinance. We, the people of Barnstead, declare that water is essential for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, both for people and for the ecological systems which give life to all species. We declare that we have the duty to safeguard the water both on and beneath the Earth's surface, and in the process safeguard the rights of people within the community of Barnstead and the rights of the ecosystems of which Barnstead is a part. We declare that all of our water is held in the public trust to be used for the benefit of Barnstead residents and of the ecological systems of which they are a part. We believe that the corporatization of water supplies in this community, placing the control of water in the hands of the corporate few, sounds like our movement, doesn't it? Rather than the community, would usurp democratic processes, result in tyranny, and that we the people are therefore duty-bound under the New Hampshire Constitution to oppose such usurpation and tyranny. A small, rather conservative town in Barnstead, New Hampshire, used this language. The ordinance establishes no corporation shall engage in water withdrawals in Barnstead, nor corporations doing business in the town can be recognized as a person under the Constitution of the U.S. or New Hampshire or under our laws, nor can they be afforded the protection of the Commerce Clause or the contract clause of the U.S. Constitution or similar provisions in law. The day that Thomas Lindsay, the lawyer for the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund, came to the town hall of Barnstead, New Hampshire, and I admit I invited him, got him there, I'll never forget that day. Picture a small wooden town hall. Picture an open square of seats with the select board sitting in front, Thomas Lindsay and some of us organizers sitting across, some townspeople on either side. And Lindsay told the story of Pennsylvania, where he had fought using the permitting process to stop bad things in Pennsylvania, and that everybody would celebrate the victory, and then the corporation would say, oh, thank you for telling us what we have to do to our permit in order to make it go through, and they'd dot all the I's and they'd cross all the T's, and they'd come back and they'd get their permit. And when the state of Pennsylvania passed a law with labor and environment and the Democratic governor all pushing for it to regulate the CAFOs, you just talked about the CAFOs coming in, the pig farms, to regulate them, the local towns in central Pennsylvania said, no, we don't care about this law. We don't want these pig farms here coming up from North Carolina, these big corporate pig farms. We just don't want them, and Mr. Lindsay, you do something about it. And that was the beginning of rights-based organizing in central Pennsylvania, which most progressives had never even imagined something would happen there, okay? And this became the basis of rights-based organizing. I brought the concept to New Hampshire. But let me finish the story. After he told us, we broke for homemade bread, homemade soup, some pumpkin pie, and some cider. And we came back together again. And Mr. Lindsay just looked across the room to Jack O'Neill who voted for Bush and was a Vietnam vet, and said, well, what do you want to do now? And Jack O'Neill said, well, Mr. Lindsay, we want you to write an ordinance for us. And Lindsay said, well, you know this will take on settled law. They'd been to a democracy school and they knew the history. And Jack O'Neill said, well, Mr. Lindsay, we understand that. We're going to walk point for you. Walking point means walking ahead to flush out the enemy, taking the enemy fire. We will walk point for you. He understood. He understood in a very, very deep way what they were doing in Barnstead, New Hampshire. And so we went on, and 3 more ordinances have been passed in New Hampshire and 2 in Maine. This is a part of a very growing movement. There's at least 100 in Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh is the biggest place that they've passed, and that's against fracking. You can do it against anything. This is taking on the system. This is taking on the system at the very, very local level. And once you get enough towns to pass in the local level, then you look at the state constitution. And once you get enough state constitutions changed, you look at the federal constitution. But you build the power. You build the grassroots power from the bottom up. So this is, I think, what our challenge is, and I'm glad to be here to tell you just a little bit about this. Thank you.